Yesterday I was enjoying my afternoon tea, sitting at my gazebo on the mountaintop underneath this huge bonsai tree. I was just taking in the atmosphere. It was a nice cool breeze on a hot summer's day, and then the rays of the sun hit my eyes. I could barely open them, I could barely see anything. My face was lit with the gracious hug of the sun, and I knew exactly what topic I wanted to cover for today's video. So, here we are. I've made a comprehensible list ranking all the characters in Wuthering Waves. By the end of this video, you'll know undoubtedly who the best miner is in this game. So starting off our list, there's a little caveat I just want to mention really quickly. Shout out to our pistol and rectifier users. I love you all, you're great characters, but unfortunately, you're not gonna make the cut because you have been intentionally nerfed because of the weapon types that you guys were designed to use. So anyways, moving on from the obvious, we've got Calcharo. He's an excellent miner. The first hit of his basic attack is a one-shot. His skill, any part of it, is a one-shot. Heavy attack is an AoE one-shot. Unfortunately, his plunge attack is lacking in that department, but he's still a really good option. But anyways, moving on, I thought I'd include this clip just to give you a baseline idea of what like pistol and rectifiers look like. They're not totally useless, but they are pretty hard to utilize, especially for something as basic as mining. Although there will be some surprises later on in the video, so make sure you stick around for those. Next up is Sanhua. Her basic attacks aren't anything crazy, and the same thing goes for every other sword user in the game. Her skill is pretty bad by itself, but when paired up with a heavy attack, it's pretty good. Speaking of heavy attacks, her heavy attack is very, very good if used by itself. Same thing with Yang Yang. Heavy attack by itself is really, really good. Her skill is also really good. A bit of AoE on it. Danjin, she's got pretty good heavy attacks. Her skill is pretty lackluster, and she loses health every time she uses it. Unfortunately, even though I love this guy, Yuan Wu isn't gonna cut it. Literally, he's not gonna cut the rocks that you're trying to break. Even using his skill, his forte circuit, everything, it's just, I would rather use anybody else. We've got the Havoc Rover, pretty good damage, but Maisie is a pleasant surprise. She can do this, and that's funny, so she gets thumbs up from me. And because we did Havoc Rover, now we have to do Spectro Rover, which is a little better, in my opinion. Spectro Rover has a bit of AoE with their heavy attack and skill, and if you use their Forte Circuit, it's even better. You've got even better AoE. Now we're moving on to the rest of the 5 stars in the game, starting off with Ling Yan. He is, unfortunately, extremely mid. Nothing really special, even with his Forte Circuit active and his skill. It just, he takes way too many hits to destroy these rocks. Next is Encore. She can't really do much with her basic attacks, but her skill is actually pretty good. Now, because this video is the way that it is, I didn't use ultimates for any of the other characters, and it would be a little unfair to them if I did use Encore's ultimate, but I mean, if you're willing to use your ultimate to destroy some rocks, then by all means, you know, and you may as well use a jackhammer to put a nail on the wall to hang that beautiful portrait of yours. Jian's basic attack is not enough to one-shot a rock, but his plunging attack and skill are, which is nice. Next up is Taochi. Make sure that if you do use her to break rocks, use her basic attacks and not her heavy attack, because you will be waiting for 2024 more years for that to hit the rocks. Her skill is nothing crazy either. It doesn't even do a one-shot to the rocks. It does like half their durability. And her plunging attack is about the same amount of damage. So if you really want to get freaky with it and show your mechanical skills, you could full combo these rocks for a total KO. And then lastly, we got Yanchin. Her basic attacks are okay. Her second basic attack is really, really good because it's a multi-hit. Her plunging attack is actually a one-shot like Jian's, but it's also a multi-hit move, which is cooler. And then her skill takes a long time, doesn't even one-shot the rocks, so don't even bother with that. Here's this tier list I made just to be able to grasp the sheer complexity of the concept that is mining in Wuthering Waves. If you disagree with this tier list, I agree with you, but just so we're on the same page, let me know what the error is down in the comment section, and I'll try to get back to you in about 4 business days. Yeah, that's all I want to say about that. So